Hello everyone, I am Siddharthan. Currently, we are in the first module of our deep learning course, and this first module is about the basics of deep learning. In the previous videos, we have seen what is a neural network and what is meant by deep learning and what is a perceptron and a lot more. We have also seen how we can build a perceptron from scratch in Python. In this video, let's do a quick recap of what we have seen before and what is meant by the term artificial neural network. So once we are clear with all of these basic concepts, in the subsequent videos, we can see what is meant by an activation function and the different types of it and how all these things comes together in an artificial neural network. And later we can move on to the convolutional neural networks and the other advanced topics that we have. So that's the agenda of today's video, and let's get started. So we have already seen that deep learning is a subfield of machine learning that uses artificial neural networks to learn from the data. So we have already seen about machine learning where we train a model with the data, right? And in machine learning we have models like, let's say, a logistic regression, support vector, random forest, and a lot more, right? And neural networks are also a type of machine learning models, but when we specifically use a neural network, we call that as a deep learning, right? So that's basically the difference between these. And in a neural network, you would have an input layer where you feed the input data, and then you can have like several number of hidden layers, and then you finally would be having a output layer, and each of these circles represent an individual neuron, or this is what we would call a perceptron. So this is what we have seen before, and let's also do a quick recap of what we have discussed about the perceptron. So a perceptron is a basic artificial neuron that takes inputs, applies weights, combines them, and produces an output using an activation function. It is used for tasks like binary classification, and it is a building block of neural networks. So this is like the standard definition, but let's try to understand this in a more detailed way. So we have seen that this is how like we can represent a neural network, and a neural network basically is made up of a basic unit called as a perceptron or a neuron. So just similar to the neurons that we have in our brain. So in our nervous system, right? So the neurons are interconnected, building a nervous system. Similarly, we have these neurons that are connected to each other that sends and receives the signals and inputs, and that's what we call basically as perceptron, and they together kind of forms this neural network. If we just take this perceptron alone, we can see that it is like a basic artificial neuron. It takes an input and applies the weights to this. So if you see this one, right, so we have some input variables such as x1, x2, and x3. So let's say that we are building a diabetes prediction system, and this x1 can be age, x2 can be the blood pressure of the person, and x3 can be whether their parents or their close relatives have diabetes or something, right? So we have like all those variables, and we apply these weights. So weights are basically like the weightage to that particular variable. Let's say that with increase of age, the person is at a more higher risk of getting diabetes. So age would be having like a weight higher. When basically when the age increases, the risk also increases. So similarly, you have weightages over here, and then you have a bias term that you would add to this, and then we have the summation part. So here we are saying this, right? So it combines them, so it combines the inputs as well as the weights. So it basically multiplies this weight with the corresponding variable. So we would have this x1 into w1, and then x2 into w2, x3 into w3, and we add all these things, and we would add a bias value to this. So those particular events or tasks happen in the summation part, and then we would have an activation function that basically kind of tells whether it has to fire that neuron. So when we say fire, it's basically whether it's going to give the output as 1 or 0. So these perceptron can also be used as an individual model. So it can be like very well used in a binary classification, and in those cases you would probably having a sigmoid activation function that gives you the value between 0 and 1, the probability of the label or basically that data point being class 1, right? So we have kind of discussed about this before. So in this case, this would act just like a logistic regression model, and we would start with this random weight values, and later we would kind of have some optimization algorithms, which is most likely a gradient descent, and that would kind of have this loss function and cost function values, try to minimize that by changing these weight values, and it would finally reach a optimum value. So this is what we have seen about perceptron, right? So you have this inputs, weights, bias. Weighted sum is the summation of these things, and then you have activation function and output. So this is what we have seen. And now we can come back to this artificial neural network, which is our kind of topic of discussion today. So this artificial neural network is basically a combination of all these perceptrons. So you would get an artificial neural network. So this is the definition of this. An artificial neural network is a computational model inspired by the human brain's network of neurons. As I said, just like the network of neurons that we have in our brain, so this is like an artificial representation of this, and it learns like how a human brain would learn stuff. So it's basically like we feed it with data, say that let's say this image is an apple or this image is a mango, and it kind of tries to learn from it, and once you give a new image, it predicts like what it is. So I've also made these use cases videos that you can refer to for these classification using a plain neural network, an artificial neural network, and also using convolutional neural network. So you can watch these videos and refer to those use cases so that you get like a practical understanding of that as well. So that's about artificial neural network. And ANNs consist of layers of interconnected nodes or neurons, each processing inputs and passing their outputs to the next layer. So as we have seen here, right, so these would consist of individual neurons, and we kind of pass an input, so that inputs gets processed here. So processing is nothing but doing those kind of like weighted some applying an activation functions that would happen in a perceptron. So that's what we mean by that, and then it sends this output to the next neuron in the next layer. So that's what we have over here. So ANN consists of layers of interconnected nodes or neurons, each processing inputs and passing their outputs to the next layer, just what we have discussed. And we have like different specializations of this artificial neural network, and that's what we call as, let's say, convolutional neural network that works really well for image related tasks like image classification or object detection and so on. And then you have recurrent neural network, which is mainly used for sequential data for, let's say, text classification or basically speech to text. So all these are kind of like an sequential data where, let's say, if, in order to understand a particular word, right, in a sentence, you need to kind of understand the context of this. So you basically need to have an understanding of the previous word in order to get a clear understanding or a context of this. So in these kinds of sequential data, recurrent neural network is going to be really helpful. And the other type of neural network is GAN, which is like basically used to generate images, right? And it's like a really interesting kind of model where we could train it with some images, and once it's like it's trained and it's performing well, it can generate the images that are similar to this. So again, there are several neural networks, so we can say that all these are types of artificial neural networks, and each of these has like specialized applications and so on. Okay, so that's about the artificial neural networks and its types. Let's maybe discuss in detail about each of these types quickly. So first we have this multi-layer perceptron, which is again a simple artificial neural network where we don't have any convolutional layers or any other complex layers. So we just have an input layer where we feed the input. So we would flatten it and feed it. And then like we would have this hidden layer. So you can have like one hidden layer or two hidden layers. So this is what we call as fully connected layers, where the neurons in these layers are like connected to all the neurons of the previous layer, right? If you see this particular green neuron thing, so this is connected, or basically this receives the input from all the neurons from the previous layer, right? So this is what we call as like a fully connected layer. And then finally you would have an output layer that would give you probably the class if you're working on a classification problem, or some values, right, if you're working on a regression problem. So this is an example of a simple artificial neural network, which is a multi-layer perceptron, or you can also call this MLP. And then we have a convolutional neural network that is widely used for image related tasks. So here we again would feed or train these convolutional neural network with a bunch of images, and it tries to learn the features from it, and finally it would say what that particular image is. In this case, for example, we have this cat image, and once you've trained it, it can say whether it is a cat or it is not a cat, right? You can also train this with, let's say, 10 images, which makes you, or probably it's a multi-class classification problem. It tells you what that particular animal is. So that's how this works. And convolutional neural networks, in addition to containing these fully connected layers and the output layer, it also contains these convolutional layers and max pooling layers, again a lot more as well. So a convolutional layer is basically used to detect the features in the image, let's say the edges the edges present in the image, or it can recognize like the shapes present in it and so on. And then you have a max pooling layer that basically reduces your spatial dimension. Let's say your image is 224 224, which which is like the usual shape that we work on. So if you feed, let's say 500 into 500 image, it tries to reduce that dimension so that the model can learn efficiently, and it can like have like lesser word weights and so on. So all these happens in the max pooling layer. So I'm just like giving you a high level overview, but later we will be discussing in detail about this. And then again, you can have like first convolutional module where you have this first set of convolutional and max pooling layer, and then you have a second set of like layers such as the convolutional max pooling. So similarly, you can have like any number of layers, convolutional layers, and then you have a fully connected layer which is again connected to the all the neurons of the previous layer, and then you finally have this output layer that's tell you like what particular image is. This is about convolutional neural network in a high level. And then again, we have this recurrent neural network, which is again an interesting model because in this, let's say a convolutional neural network, right, these data points that we work on, this image is it's kind of independent, right? But in the case of recurrent neural network, we work on sequential data like text or speech, right? And in this case, the words that's present in a sentence kind of give you a meaning when you read it separately, and it gives you a different meaning if you put it in a sentence because of the context, right? So when it comes to the sequential data, it has to recognize that word but also understand what's the connection of this word with the previous word, and like all these things should happen in a sequential way. So again, a recurrent neural network kind of achieves that by kind of having a memory of their own. So these perceptron, these individual neurons should have a memory, and basically like these memories will also be fed to the neurons in the next layer. So again, this is a very high level overview, but you can just have an understanding like this for RNN. And again, we have this GAN, which is this generative adversarial networks, which is used to generate images, and this is like one of the interesting models. So maybe we can quickly understand this. So the two main components of GAN, a generative adversarial network, are a generator and a discriminator. So how this would work is, you are seeing this latent random variable, right? So let's say that this is basically an array where we just feed random values. So let's say that I'm creating a latent variable with, or a latent array with 100 numerical values, right? And this array will be fed to this generator, and let's say the image shape that we are working on is again 224 comma 224. It just puts these values, these latent values, and creates an image. And when you just put, or when you basically create that image, it wouldn't like kind of mean anything. It's just like a random image that doesn't show you anything. It's just like these random white and black things and so on, right? So this generator would generate that image from this latent random variable thing. Now this goes through a discriminator, which is basically a classification model kind of a thing. So this discriminator tries to see whether the image generated by this, I mean basically when you give an image, it tries to see whether that image is a real image coming from a data source, or it is like an image generated by the generator. Again, so it's basically a binary classification test. So let's say that this discriminator gets images from two sources. One is your real data set, the real images, and the generator tries to kind of send like synthetic images that it has generated. So the discriminator should distinguish between the two. So now what would happen is, both this generator network and the discriminator network gets trained together simultaneously in a GAN training system, right? And each of this thing, the generator tries to build better images that that's more accurate or more close to this real images, and discriminator kind of tries to tell whether it is a synthetic image or the real image. And finally we have this loss and other things that goes into this. So the model will be fine-tuned at a point where the discriminator can't kind of say whether it's like the image generated by the generator is actually a real image or a fake image. So this is how GAN work in a high level, so you can again have this understanding. So these are again few of the types of artificial neural networks. So all these are artificial neural networks, but just like specialized version of this. So you also have like more types to this as well, but again, this understanding is okay for now. In the upcoming videos we can move on to the other concepts and other core concepts, and also like more hands-on videos where we could discuss more about deep learning and stuffs about it. Okay, so that's it from my side, and I'll see you in the next upload. Thanks for watching.